Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us during our weekly virtual MLS breakfast meetings. My name is Cecilia Rudar from American Heritage Realtors, and I am your September MLS program chair. A little about me is on the left-hand side or right-hand side, wherever it comes up in your screen. I started a long time ago in 1966, got organized into real estate in 1967. So I've seen a lot of changes and been around a lot, and I'll tell you more later. A few housekeeping tips. All participants will be muted upon entry to the MLS breakfast meeting. And should you have a question or a comment, please remember to enter it into the chat box. Okay, please remember to register every week as we have our virtual MLS breakfast meetings every Thursday at 9 a.m. As always, this meeting is being recorded and will be available online on our YouTube channel, West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. Our social media, please remember to follow WSGVR social media on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And if you haven't already signed up for the WSGVR text messaging service, please do it now or after the meeting. Text WSGVR to the number 72727. Now for our CRMLS quote. IDX displays can now include the listing broker and the listing agent contact information. Brokers, and if granted permission, agents can choose how the listing information is displayed by clicking the listing toolbox icon on their MLS dashboards. Our agenda today will include our president's message from Mindy Ye in a couple minutes. Our speaker will be Robert Isozaki, who is the Special Assistant Public Affairs from the Los Angeles County Assessor's Office. Remember, to be eligible for today's raffle, you must be a WSGVR member and your name must be displayed to win. We will not accept any phone numbers. Our affiliate spotlight is brought to you by the affiliate committee. Our chair is Sage Gomez, my NHD, and vice chair Brandon Savronsky, First American NHD. Affiliate introduction will be Joseph Haggerty from the affiliate committee. Go ahead, Joseph, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here as your affiliate spotlight. We have a lot of great affiliates, and if you haven't done a spotlight, you guys should come forward and do a spotlight this year. I've talked to you guys many times about my past, but I thought today I'd go over, kind of some of my experience in this industry. I started in title about 2003. Well, not about, it was 2003. I got a job inside of an office, which was investor's title back then. And I literally started in the mailroom. I mean, it was just, I was coordinating the mail for like all of California, all the offices in California for that company. And I worked there, for, it was, I don't know, a year or two doing that. Eventually that company got new management and I got laid off at some point, and I got picked up at another company called Alliance Title. And that's where I became a customer service rep. So I did customer service for a couple of years there. And that's where I learned the most, probably because that team of people, was really competitive within the group, where we would have like competitions on who could find a property first that was really difficult to search out, or we would just always have this really high standards to give people the best answer. Never say no to any customer who has kind of a difficult question, or they're looking for some specific details. So I really learned a lot right there. After working there for a little while, I got hired as a customer service manager at another company called Cal County's Title. So I kind of had to like oversee people and teach them how to use all the title company software. That was probably one of the hardest jobs I had in this industry, because I'd have to go in before the sun comes up, and then I'd be leaving as the sun's coming down, and never saw the light of day really. I was just always in that office. And I think I aged the most during that time. And I actually ended up quitting because I just it was, I mean, it was more than just the hours. It was you know, some of my coworkers, managers, whatever, we didn't get along. So I was like, you know what, I got to move along. So from there, I actually left Title and I worked, I got a job in a restaurant because cooking was always my passion. So I worked as a cook, and I actually became the chef of that restaurant after a couple of years because I was so passionate about it. I did actually leave that industry as well for personal reasons. I had some family member that was ill, so I had to leave that industry for a little while. And then when I came back to work, I decided to go back into Title because it was what I knew so well, and I knew I could just get picked up right away. I actually went back to the same company, Cal County's Title, but unfortunately they ended up closing their shop about a year later, something like that. But when I came back, I worked on a title unit, and so I learned how to process a file from beginning to end, how to set up recordings, how to clear up everything on the preliminary report. So I got some really good experience there, and that's from there I became a title rep in about, I think it was 2013 or so. So, when you work with me, I have this kind of background of experience where I can give you, a lot of, specific research or answers, or troubleshoot your prelim with you before anything becomes an issue. I joined Orange Coast Title about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. They are in Santa Ana in Orange County. I haven't had any issues with where they are, like where the office is located. I sometimes have to drive down there if something is needed on a rush, but mostly I'm here in San Gabriel Valley and parts of Los Angeles. I hope I have the chance to work with some more of you in the future. If you ever have a chance, give me a call, or if you just want to ask me a question, shoot me an email or a text. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Joseph. That was very informative. Very informative. We'll now share a Labor Day video greeting from some of our affiliates. Please remember to
real
support
estate
our
partners
affiliates
and friends
with
and
your
family from the
transactions.
West San Gabriel Valley Association of Realtors. It's Marcus from Western Resources Title, wishing you a safe and enjoyable Labor Day weekend. Make it a good one. Bye.
Oriana Chan with Trans Global Lending. Just wanted to wish everyone a happy Labor Day.
Hi, this is Teresa Lam with Corinthian Title Company. Happy Labor Day. If you're going to party, don't drink and drive. Uber in and Uber out. Uber should pay me to say that.
Everyone, I'm Bob Chu.
And I'm Jacqueline Chu from Champion Escrow. This Labor Day, I hope you will take some time to celebrate labor and not do any labor yourself.
Have a wonderful day off.
Happy Labor Day from Brandon Savransky with First American Natural Hazard Disclosures.
Good morning. This is Judy from AAA Capital Investment Senior Loan Officer. Have a great Labor Days weekend.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. And this is Hong Chang. If you need any help with insurance, give me a call. And wish you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm here at Onion Valley, Gilbert Lake at 10,000 elevation. Happy Labor Day weekend. Wishing you all a fun time. And this is Alina from Glen Assessor. Thank you.
Happy Labor Day from Cosmo Sanchez with New Ink Funding.
Hi, this is John Wax with Snap NHD Natural Hazard Disclosures, wishing you a fun and safe Labor Day.
Agency owner Mark Wu here for a property insurance need. On this Labor Day, I wanted to wish you a happy Labor's Day and for your dedication to your real estate industry.
Happy Labor Day from Sage Growers at My NHG. Hi, this is Angie Tang with Stewart Title, wishing you a wonderful Labor Day weekend.
Hi, you need a Woo Home Warranty from America, your 13 months home warranty. Wishing you all a happy Labor's Day. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. This is Joe Haggerty with Orange Coast Title. Happy Labor Day, and I'd like to thank all the great American workers who make America so amazing. Thank you.
Hi, this is Annie Fan Chicago Title. Happy Labor Day weekend.
Whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you're always right. Happy Labor Day. I'm Yadini, Phase 1, Phase 2, Environmental Services.
Please support our Western Gabriel affiliates. That was a great video. Thank you, guys. At this time, help me to open pitching. We're going to have 2 open pitches today. Remember, 30 seconds. And first on our agenda is Jason Burns with Keller Williams in Pasadena. Go ahead, Jason.
I don't see Jason.
Don't see Jason.
Let's move on to the next one.
Okay, next is Shun Zhang with Remax, Real Estate Max.
Thank you, Sil. Good morning, everyone. This is Shun. 348 is a 2-unit on a lot, total of 6 bedroom, 4 bath. What's unique about this property is each unit has its own water meter, gas meter, electric meter, and has its own addresses as well. The other address is 2311 California Avenue. Each unit has 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Back unit is brand new built with pay in full solar panel. High ceiling, crown moldings all around. Front unit is newly remodeled with a cozy fireplace, almost 1,100 square footage. 2-car garage, huge yard. Lot size is almost 9,200 square feet. So plenty of space for you to for extension. Asking price is 1.18. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, don't forget that if you do have a listing, bring it up to us on our open pitching. Okay, at this time, I'd like to welcome Mindy Ye for our president's message. Mindy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sil. Good morning, WSGVR family and friends. Happy September and Labor Day weekend. Thank you for all your continuous loyal support and for joining us this morning during our MLS breakfast meeting. I would like to share some information from you provided by NAR as of August 30th on state and federal outlook on evictions, foreclosures, and rental assistance. I'm just going to share with you some key takeaways on eviction. On the federal side, last Thursday, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the CDC existing eviction moratoriums. Eviction immediately. The order is now expired. In the 6-3 ruling, the court rules that the CDC did not have authority to extend the order and finding that only the U.S. Congress could do so. On the state level, the eviction moratorium remains active only in 7 jurisdictions nationwide, with 4 of this also prohibits foreclosures. On the next slide later, you can see that one of them is California, is one of the 4. And then the states continue to show little appetite for renewing eviction bans. Good news, right? Leaving the issues to federal government. On the rental mortgage relief programs, you can access the emergency rentals or mortgage relief programs remains available in all 50 states. You can find all this information that I'm sharing with you this morning in more details, as well as other states and California on our website at WSGVAR. You click on under the tab News and Event, and then you click on NAR, and then under Eviction Updates, it'll give you all the detailed information. Thank you. That's all the updates I have this morning. I also would like to thank our speaker, Robert Isozaki. That's all I have. Sil, the floor is back to you.
Thank you, Mindy. Now let's welcome our guest speaker. I'm looking forward to hearing his information. Also, Mr. Robert Isozaki is a Special Assistant, Public Affairs, Los Angeles County Assessor's Office. Welcome, Robert. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome. Okay, so I'm Robert Isozaki. I'm a special assistant at the LA County Assessor's Office. I want to thank a couple of people who helped put this together. First, Ling Chow. She reached out to our office and facilitated putting this together. I also spoke with Cecilia yesterday. She's helping us with the logistics. And also Mindy, thank you for having me here this morning. This morning, I'm going to talk about a couple different topics. First is the LA County property tax system. There's a number of departments involved, so I think one key thing that will help you assist your clients will be knowing what part of the property tax process they may be encountering issues with if they come to you with questions. Secondly, and kind of the bulk of this presentation has to do with the newly passed Prop 19 or newly implemented Prop 19. And then finally, at the end, there's a couple notes that I have on the homeowners exemption program and the assessment appeals board process. So we'll get started. So as I said, the county property tax system is made up of a number of departments, but really where the assessment and reassessment and taxation process begins is with the registrar recorder's office, county clerk's office, and the city and county building and safety departments. So the registrar recorder's office, they receive documents from property owners, records regarding title transfer, things like deeds, affidavits, death of real property owners, things like that. And they after it's been recorded, they transmit those title transfer documents to the assessor's office. Similarly, when a property owner is looking to add an addition to their property, build a new home, add a pool, what have you, they have their approved building plan or building plans approved by the city and county building and safety departments. When those are approved, those building and safety departments forward along those permits to our office so that we can be informed about what kind of new construction activity is occurring. Receiving those documents, the assessor reviews the property, whether or not it needs to be reassessed, and if it does have to be reassessed, the extent to which the reassessment needs to occur. And using all that information, we come up with a property value. That's your taxable value upon which your property taxes are based. But before we get to the property tax figures that you find on your bill, we send our values along to the auditor controller. And what the auditor controller does is they take that property value that the assessor comes up with, they apply a tax rate, and they come up with the tax figure. And so that's the key function of the auditor controller. Once they come up with that tax figure, they send it along to the treasurer and tax collector's office, and they issue any bills and collect the payments. Now, backtracking just a little bit, the auditor controller does have another key function that a lot of taxpayers run into. And that's when there's an adjustment to your assessed value. Say, for example, it's found that you were initially assessed at a property value that was too high. We end up reducing it. The auditor controller's office is going to be the office that's responsible for issuing any type of refund that may be due to the taxpayer. So it's important to keep these kind of functions in mind when your clients come to you with a question as to, oh, I have this tax bill issue, I have this assessment issue. Knowing these kind of functions will help you be able to guide them to the best office to address their issue. So that being said, we'll move on to Prop 19. Prop 19 was approved by California voters last year in November, and it has two key components, separate but equally important components. The first component has to do with base year value transfers for seniors, property owners with disabilities, and victims of natural disasters. Essentially, it means you can move your tax base from your current property to a new property. That became effective on April 1st of this year. And the changes made by Prop 19, it expanded the benefits that previously existed for these property owners under previous law. On the other hand, Prop 19 restricted some of the prior existing benefits for transfers between parents and children and grandparents and grandchildren. The previous law was known as Prop 58 and Prop 193. This changeover for Prop 19 became effective on February 16th of this year. So what exactly are the changes? We'll go through each of these one by one. So first of all, we'll talk about the base year value transfer program for seniors, property owners with disabilities, and victims of natural disasters. So what Prop 19 allows them to do is move the tax base from their current principal residence to a replacement principal residence that they purchase. So one key thing to know here is that the current principal residence has to be sold and the replacement principal residence has to be bought. So it can't be a situation where you buy a new principal residence and try and move over your tax base without selling the old principal residence. As to the changes that were affected by Prop 19, the base year value can be transferred to a replacement principal residence located anywhere in California. So that's a key difference from the old law, which only allowed a transfer to within LA County or to a transfer of your base year value to a property located in about 9 other counties that had adopted the program. Also, property owners can transfer their base year values up to 3 times, whereas under the previous law, they could only transfer it once. Finally, the last big change that was made by Prop 19 is the replacement principal residence that you purchase can be of any value, higher, lower, the same as the fair market value of your original property. So under the previous law, you had to purchase, you could only transfer your base year value to your replacement residence if its fair market value was less than or equal to the fair market value of your original property. So that's a big change that's going to be a benefit to a lot of people that want to take advantage of this program. And finally, something that's not a real change, but something to note is that the sale and purchase, those 2 transactions must occur within 2 years of one another. So as you can see from these middle 3 bullets, the requirements to transfer base year value for these property owners, they've been expanded in such a way as to allow more people to take advantage. So a lot of people are going to like this particular change. On the other hand, as I said previously, Prop 19 did a lot to restrict the previous benefits that were available for what we call intergenerational transfers. So transfers between parents and children of real property between parents and children, and sometimes for transfers between grandparents and grandchildren. So what are some of the changes that have been made? So under Prop 19, now the exclusion applies only to the principal residence of the transferor. Transfers of properties other than the principal residence, like vacation homes, rental property, commercial property, are not going to be eligible to be excluded from reassessment, even if there's that parent-child, grandparent-child relationship. It only applies to the principal residence. Previously, the principal residence could be transferred, but there was also a provision that allowed for an exclusion for non-principal residence property. Since Prop 19 came into effect, that no longer exists. Also, there are new requirements with regard to filing for this particular benefit. When the property is transferred, the transferee or recipient of the property must move into the property, file a homeowner's exemption claim or disabled veterans exemption claim in connection with the property with the assessor's office, and file a Prop 19 exclusion claim with the assessor's office, all within 1 year of the transfer. So that's going to be really important that those 3 things be done within 1 year of the transfer. And another thing to note that these transfers include both transfers affected by deed and also transfers that are affected based on a death of a parent or grandparent that results in a transfer of the property. So if parent passes away and transfers and passes along the property of this child, the child will want to do these 3 things: move into the property, file the homeowner's exemption claim, and file for the Prop 19 exclusion, all within 1 year of the parent's passing. In addition, there's another restriction that came into effect under Prop 19, and that has to do with the value of the principal residence that's allowed to be transferred over. And it's a little bit complicated, but I've tried to simplify it here as best as I can. Essentially, if the fair market value of the property is less than or equal to $1 million, a total exclusion will be granted and there will be no reassessment. So the child, if it's a transfer from parent to child, will be able to inherit their parents' tax base without any adjustment. Now, if the fair market value of the property is over $1 million, a value comparison test will need to be applied, and that will help determine the extent to which the exclusion will benefit the recipient. And essentially, in this case, what we do, if the property is worth over, if the fair market value is worth of the property is worth over $1 million, we evaluate based on the following. We take the greater of two values, either the property's current trended base year value, so basically what the parents were paying their taxes on, or the fair market value minus $1 million. So whichever of those two figures is greater is going to be what the child's tax base will be moving forward. So it's a little bit complicated. If you have questions or want an example, when we get to that point, I'm happy to walk through that with you guys. As I indicated, there's a lot of questions that are still outstanding about Prop 19, but given the information that we have and the questions that we've been receiving from property owners, tax agents, real estate agents, the assessors put together a web page that has a lot of helpful information when you're looking at potential benefit that you can take advantage of under Prop 19. So we have a designated Prop 19 webpage. It's got general information, quick and dirty fact sheets, frequently asked questions, as well as the necessary forms that you'll need to file for any of those benefits under Prop 19. Also, one thing that I'd like to highlight, which is really helpful, is the Prop 19 calculators tab under the Prop 19 website. So what this will do is, because as I talked about earlier, some of these calculations for both the parent-child transfers, grandparent-grandchild transfers, as well as the base year value transfers, trying to figure out what numbers go where can get a little bit cumbersome. So what we've done is we set up these calculators where essentially you input your property information, your AIN or your property address, as well as the fair market value for the property. Click calculate, and it should give you an estimate of what the tax base will be moving forward. So I would highly recommend taking advantage of this yourselves, as well as referring your clients to this, because this will alleviate a lot of the headaches of trying to figure out, what your values are moving forward. So this is a great resource. But as I said, part of the problem with Prop 19 is the ballot language. It gives a kind of broad strokes as to how Prop 19 should be, what the goals of Prop 19 are, but some of the in the weeds administrative language that we had under Prop 58, 193, 60, 90, and 110, they're not quite there yet. So what the California legislature is pushing through right now is something called Senate Bill 539. And that is the implementation legislation that kind of clears up some of these questions. Also, importantly, what it does is it allows the State Board of Equalization, which is the state agency that regulates property taxation throughout the state. It grants some gap filler provision powers to the State Board of Equalization. So basically anything that the legislature wasn't able to implement through legislation, it gives the board some power to fill those gaps and provide some guidance. One thing that I would say is a very helpful resource, something that I refer property owners and agents, real estate agents to all the time, is the Board of Equalization's webpage, because it provides a lot of information on Prop 19, some of it different than what you'll find on the assessor's website. The reason for this is because the Board of Equalization has the power to interpret the law. The assessor's office is really an administrative agency that has the authority to implement the law, but we don't really have the interpretive abilities that the Board of Equalization does. So they have put out some guidance based on their interpretation powers. So this guidance issued and rulemaking tab, it contains a lot of helpful material that I would highly recommend that you refer your clients to, or take a look at yourself. It answers a lot of the questions that the assessor's office at this point doesn't necessarily feel comfortable providing answers to. But this in conjunction with the assessor's webpage, both really helpful tools. So that covers Prop 19. One thing that the assessor always likes to highlight, because it's a really easy benefit that just about a lot of people can really take advantage of is the homeowner's exemption claim. If you own a home and it's your principal residence on January 1st, you can apply for the homeowner's exemption. And what that does is, if applied to your property, is it reduces your assessed value by $7,000. What that translates to is about $70 in property tax savings annually. So although it's not a lot, given the times that we're living in with COVID and the financial circumstances that's imposed on a lot of people, $70 or any amount of money is, being saved. It's going to be helpful, I think. New property owners will automatically receive a claim for the homeowner's property tax exemption. So when they receive that, they just fill it out, sign it, send it in. They're going to have to mail it in because at this point, we're still requiring wet signatures for that particular form. We're hoping that'll be something that we can change in the future, but that's kind of where we're at right now. There's no fees or charges to apply. It's free. They just fill it out and submit it. And once granted, it'll be applied automatically on an annual basis until the property owner moves or requests that the exemption be removed for whatever reason. So that's something that's, again, a lot of property owners can take advantage of. The reason the assessor pushes this in a lot of his presentations is because over a third of the county doesn't take advantage of the eligible property owners across the county haven't taken advantage of this. So it's something that's easy to look up. If you go to the assessor portal, type in your property address, you can see whether or not your property is receiving this benefit. If not, go to our website, go to the form section, fill out the property owner's exemption claim form, submit it, and that can be taken care of pretty easily. Finally, something that I was asked to speak about, because it may be something that comes up with your clients as well, is what happens when they are assessed and at a value that they believe their property is not worth, and they're taxed on a higher amount than they think they should be. How do they challenge that? It's done through something called the Assessment Appeals Board process. So if a property owner disagrees with the assessment of their property, they can file an application with the Assessment Appeals Board. It's a county body which adjudicates property tax assessment issues. That includes changes in ownership, valuation, including base year value issues, as well as decline in value issues, and penalties that may appear on the property tax bill. So just to clarify, the Assessment Appeals Board is a branch of the County Board of Supervisors. It's separate and independent from the assessor's office. So when you appear there before the Assessment Appeals Board, it's kind of like going to court in a way. The property owner presents their evidence and their position. The assessor presents our evidence and our position, and the Assessment Appeals Board is kind of like the judge and jury. They make a determination based on the facts presented to them and the law that they're required to follow. So applications pertaining to the annual property taxes, those can be filed between July 2nd and November 3rd of each year. And applications addressing supplemental or assessment or escape assessments, those can be filed within 60 days of receipt of a notice from the assessor. So even before you receive your bills, you are notified via mail by the assessor that your assessments are going to change. Finally, I've included the Assessment Appeals Board website information here. I can make this slideshow available. I'll send it over to the organizers in case anyone is interested. So that just about covers my update and the information I have to present. I've included on the screen here some contact information for the assessor's office. And again, because we frequently get questions about people's tax bills, payments, things like that, I've included the Treasurer and Tax Collector's information below here as well. But I want to thank everyone for their time. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Isozaki. Yeah, we have a bunch of questions. We've got about 10 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to answer any questions that.
All right, good. Starting with Mary Scott, her question is, what triggers a property assessment? No, I'm sorry, that's from Mario and Ami. What triggers a property assessment?
Sure. So the key things there's two main events, and this kind of goes back to the bedrock of property taxation in California. It's called Prop 13. Essentially, there are two events that will result in a reassessment. One is a change in ownership. So if you were to sell your property, the property is going to get reassessed when the new owner takes it over. For example, if even if you decide to keep a portion of the property, and say you decide you want to transfer 50% to your brother, there will be a 50% reassessment at that point as well. So in addition to change in ownership, also reassessment occurs when there's completion of new construction. So say you add on an extra bedroom or add a pool onto or put a pool on your property, we will go in and reassess that particular newly constructed improvement. The rest of the property won't be reassessed, but whatever the value of that addition is, we will just tack that onto the existing assessment for the property. So those are the two times that you'll get reassessed.
Okay, thank you. Mary Scott says, is the LA County Recorder actively recording documents they're receiving? Or is there a backlog or a month's delay?
So it's a separate department, so I couldn't speak necessarily to exactly what's going on. I know that when COVID started, because they closed their offices to the public, and again, particularly around February, because that's when the Prop 19 parent-child component went into effect, they did have quite a backlog. So we were seeing a month, several months backlog, but I know that they are processing documents. Whether or not things are able to be processed right away, I'd have to refer you to their office.
Okay, and that takes in Young's question also. Joe Haggerty for Prop 19, for either transferring a tax base or intergenerational transfers, does the qualified party need to hold a certain percentage of the property? And what happens if the person requesting the exemption is only coming on title with 50% interest and the other 50% is for someone who doesn't qualify?
Yeah, sure. So I think mainly that pertains to the base year value transfer component, more so than the parent-child. In that particular circumstance, if you were to have a qualified claimant transferring their base year value over to a replacement property that they co-own with a non-qualified individual, someone who's not over 55 or doesn't meet those other qualifications, they would still be able to transfer over the base year value, and that non-qualified individual would they would receive the benefit even though they're not qualified.
Okay, thank you. From Mario Manzanilla, if the property is in a living trust and the beneficiaries are the children, will Prop 19 apply when the transfer of title becomes in effect?
Sure. So I'll walk us through kind of an example because I think it'll help kind of clear things up. So a common situation that we see with trusts is parents set up a trust, they transfer their property to a trust, and when they pass away, their property is to transfer to their children. So in the case of that situation where the parent passes away, we look at the parent's date of death as the parent-child transfer date. So the children will have to file their Prop 19 claim, homeowner's exemption claim, and have one of the children move into the property within 1 year of the parent's date of death. Then when they transfer, and so if that's approved, then the date of death transfer will not be reassessed, or Prop 19 will be applied to it. When they transfer it out of the trust, if they transfer it to the individual, if they transfer it out to basically the beneficiaries who receive the property, there shouldn't be a reassessment. What we call that is a perfection of title. Basically, it's a transfer from the beneficiaries in the trust to them outright. So really, the Prop 19 is going to apply to the date of death transfer there.
Thank you. Cesar Avalos has a question. Can you purchase first and sell 23 months later and still take advantage of Prop 19?
Yes, so you can sell your original property or purchase your replacement property in any order. Again, the time within which that has to occur is 2 years. So it sounds like in this case with 23 months, that shouldn't be a problem. But if possible, we would say that people getting down to the wire on those things, you're always in danger of, of not meeting that deadline. So If you're able to do it before then, that's probably better. But again, I understand how transactions work, and you do what you can when you can.
Thank you. Teresa Lamb has a question. Parents died. Children inherited the property through a trust. The trust transferred to children's name a year later. Would another year's extension be applied to the new owners on title?
So in this particular circumstance, if the parent's date of death occurred after February, well, since it occurred before, I'm assuming in this case, before February 16th of this year, they would be still subject to Prop 58. So they could file their Prop 58. There's no homeowner's exemption claim required in that under Prop 58. So they have 3 years or before the property is transferred to a third party for the children to file for the homeowner's or the Prop 58 exclusion, and that would take care of the date of death transfer. Again, depending on how that transfer out of the trust worked, how that was configured, that may also be eligible for exclusion. But just to be clear, transfers out of a trust to the beneficiaries aren't necessarily always going to be excluded. We have to look at who the beneficial owners are before and after that transfer. So just to be clear, that's how that works.
Thank you. Frederick Lamb has a question. How to calculate the property tax for the ADU or the JADU?
Yeah, sure. So as far as when a property owner adds on an ADU or JADU, we view that essentially the same as any other type of new construction. So it's viewed as if you added on an extra bedroom, bathroom, put in a new garage, anything like that. So essentially, like I was saying before, when there's new construction, what the assessor's office does when it's completed is we go in, we value that newly constructed addition or ADU, and we add that value onto the existing value of the property. So that again, if essentially you understand the concept of basic new construction, it applies just the same to ADUs and JADUs.
Okay, thank you. Arthur Shu asks why there is a large increase in land value in some LA County cities compared to last year.
That I couldn't necessarily say. I mean, a short answer is I'm not an appraiser, and I don't really keep up to date on necessarily the market changes on particular pieces of property. But as you know, generally the reason that property values go up is because of some demand element. So I'm not exactly sure what that may be for the particular properties you're talking about, but that's generally the reason that we would think those property values would increase.
And maybe Arthur needs to call you direct on that.
Perhaps, again, I might not have a great answer for him, but that's probably the same answer that I would give. Yeah.
All right, we're getting down to the last minute. Let's see how many questions we can get in. Caesar says, if the property title is in a family trust, can the owner take advantage of the homeowner's exemption?
Yes, they can. So you would just submit a copy of the trust to just let us know that there's a particular individual that's the homeowner, and we should be able to apply it in that circumstance.
Okay, Jeffrey Howe says, what evidence should a homeowner present to the appeals board in an assessment appeal?
So it depends. If it's an ownership issue, it can be any number of things. Trust agreements, legal entity formation documents, tax returns. Those are generally the things that we see when there's a change in ownership that's being contested. When it comes to valuation, typically what we see are people providing comparable sales. So for example, the homeowner purchases a property. It's not an arm's length transaction. They buy it for $1 million. We put $1.5 million on the roll. They can come in and with comparable sales information for properties in the area evidencing, oh, it's not 1.5, it's in fact $1 million. So that's typically what they would provide in a value case.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry we're out of time for questions. There are a couple comments in the chat box from both Albert Tran and from Mindy as to where to go. And we're asked, Albert would like to know if we could possibly include your articles and publications in our quarterly newsletter. And where can we find them on the website?
Absolutely. So there is a newsroom portion of our website where we have a lot of our articles and we have a real estate newsletter as well as a newsletter that goes out to property owners that just subscribe. So you can take a look at that and feel free to just copy and paste. Our public affairs team, we're happy to have you do that. Spread whatever information you'd like. That we're always happy to provide more information in any way that we can. So please feel free to access that information and distribute it to your membership.
Excellent information. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Isozaki.
Thank you for having me.
And now on behalf of West San Gabriel Valley Realtors, we'd like to thank Mr. Isozaki for his very, very informative presentation. And you always know you have a good presentation when you have a lot of questions. So thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, for our attendance drawing, please type in your DRE number and your member name and email in the chat box. And please make sure to participate in our education classes. Jing Wong.
She's here.
Jing is here.
Could you please put your email address? Jen, can you acknowledge?
And Frankie, you're a winner.
Frankie is not here.
Frank, sorry you missed it. And Claire Chang.
Claire Chen is here. Claire, can you put your email address? We need your email address. Hello, guys, ladies.
Chang, make sure to put your email address in the chat box along with your name.
Claire, could you acknowledge?
Sure. Yeah, I will. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
Congratulations.
you.
This is last one.
Christopher Liu.
Last one is not here.
Christopher, you missed out. And our winner is Jean Wong.
Jean Wong is here.
Hey, Jean. All right, put your name, your DRE number, and your email address.
Okay, yeah, hopefully. Jean?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, congratulations. Put your email address, please. We need your email.
Where I put it?
In the chat box.
In the chat.
I did, but I didn't have a screen.
It's on the chat.
Okay.
On the bottom of your.
I see it, but I don't have a place to put it.
On the very bottom of the page.
Open it up, click chat, and you can put in things.
I did click chat. I see the chat.
Okay, call the association, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
I called them.
Okay,
Thank you so
very
much.
good. Our attendance drawing is done. Now make sure to join our education classes. Visit wsgvar.com. And the classes are 45 hours of DRE license renewal, continuing education webinar. Friday, September 3rd, cost is $85. Our 2021 Code of Ethics training, if you haven't taken that class, it's free to WSGVR primary members only. Otherwise, you have to pay. Friday, September 3rd, it's coming up, 1 to 4. Make sure you take it. Virtual Zip Form Plus training, Monday, September 13th, 9:30 to 12:30, and it's free. Realtor Safety Course, Monday, September 13th, 10 a.m. to 12. Very good information in these courses, and again, it's free. Can't beat that. If you haven't signed up for the CAR Expo that's coming up October 5th to the 7th, make sure that you sign up for the virtual conference and the expo. Registration is free. You can't beat that. And the information is fabulous. All right, remember that the association office will be closed on Monday, September 6th for the Labor Day holiday. They will resume normal office hours on Tuesday, September 7th. Please join us next week for September 9th and join us to welcome Matt Roberts, Federal and Local Government Affairs Director from the California Association of Realtors. Reminder that the WSG office is ready to welcome you back. Our doors are officially open on Wednesday, September 8th. And visit us at www.wsgvar.com. All right, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for joining us and have a great, productive week. See you next week.